spending the next 1.5 hours today with you here on stage. 2 sentences about me up front, because I'm originally a journalist. I'm also a startup founder myself, and therefore I'm very, very curious about the next 15 startups on how they're going to use their own story and their own storytelling to convince this amazing jury. I know it's going to be hard, but I also know that you're going to give your best, and therefore let's not waste time. I actually encourage all the startups here to queue in a row, so please make sure that you're going to have a look at the timetable and be also on time, because we don't have a lot of time. You only have 2 minutes to present, and then the rest is on the jury to challenge your ideas. And I would say let's jump right into the first idea and startup, and this one is run by Rodrigo, Humberto, and Tom. And they're actually facing a major global challenge in this world, because by 2050, we expect 9 billion people here on this planet. And apparently, this means a great challenge for our agriculture system. So these 3 gentlemen will explain us how they can actually help to tackle this very big issue and also challenge for our planet with their amazing idea. Welcome on stage. The stage is yours. You have 2 minutes, and then I'm going to interrupt you.
Test, test. Thank you very much. Okay, before we get started, first of all, thank you very much that we can be here. My co-founders especially flew here from Mexico to be here in person to this great event. And now I would love to get started. So let's go. Farmers like Filiberto here use fertilizer to increase yield on their fields. But globally, over 40% of nitrogen fertilizer is wasted every year. This is not only costing him money, but is polluting our atmosphere and eroding the soil we need for decades to come. So, it's time for more sustainability through technology. Welcome to Nerit'e. Until today, chemistry was used to determine how much fertilizer your soil needs. Now, let me show you the future, where we support farmers in their fertilization strategy using technology instead of chemicals. Our IoT device is based on spectroscopy, but uses off-the-shelf components to create fertilizer recommendations for the farmer. By developing our own spectroscopy device, we focus on scalability and ease of use. Thereby, we were able to decrease production costs by 80% and offer an integrated planning tool. To top it all off, the technology is right now patent pending. Looking at the precision farming market and scaling it down to only 2 relevant categories, and only considering farmers who actually practice precision farming, we end up with an obtainable market of 624 million. By focusing our end customer first, which is the farmer, we optimize for perfect product market fit, then we move over to a B2B approach. Our advantage is our international team. We are from Germany and Mexico and supported by a strong and reliable network of industry experts and university professors. Thank you all for your time, and remember, it's time for more sustainability through technology. Get in contact today to get your shot of investing in us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was perfectly on time. I'll give you the word. The first question is up to you.
Perfect. Can we bring the team
on
stage? Whoa, full of energy. Let's go.
Thank you for your presentation. I think that the major challenge that we will have is to convince the farmers, because they are worried in growing their crops. But we know that pollution is a big problem. I think their main worry is about making their life. And so what will be what will you use to convince them to change their production process and adopting your system?
Absolutely, thank you for the question. As a matter of fact, we are already working with farmers, especially in Mexico, who are very interested in the solution for a very simple reason. This is a problem they have already begun to try to solve. Right now, they have to pay a laboratory to make this analysis chemically and then wait 7 to 10 business days to get the results back. So what we are offering is, why 10 or 7 business days? Why not 2 seconds? And this is how the convincement works. It's basically saying, this is a solution you're already looking for out there, and we're just making it better.
It is something that they do regularly, yearly, so they will change their traditional way of doing the analysis by subscribing a recurrent service to you, or do you think, don't you ever afraid that they stop subscribing once they know the characteristics of their soil and say, we know this, we don't need your product?
That depends on how often you do the fertilization, right? So, for example, since most growers during the harvest season are fertilizing once every week, then it's not really that profitable to just unsubscribe on the first analysis. However, it is true that for some parameters of soil, farmers only need 1 or 2 analyses per year. However, for nitrogen fertilizer, which is the largest variable cost, it is necessary to do that analysis at least once every 2 weeks. Most of the time, it's once every week.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if anybody else has a question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 1 more minute to ask questions. Do you have some more?
So there are, I think you also mentioned on the slide, a couple of competitors in the space. So I just wanted to double click on that. There is, for instance, a company like Stenon in Germany. How do you see the differentiation to other companies?
Yes, 100%. So sound was a bit low, but I heard like competitors and how we differentiate. First of all, we are now already talking with our end customer, and we figured out that current solutions are way too expensive. Therefore, the guys started research when they initially started the project to make a product which is affordable even for farmers in Mexico. And now we figured that by developing our own spectroscopy device, we can bring down the production costs and therefore make it affordable for the farmer and also help him save money. So we are of course we're doing this for a business reason, but we also want to help the people who initially brought us to this idea, and that's the poorer farmers in Mexico too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much. Leave here, please. Also my first introduction here. Let's jump right into the next one. So here we have a problem that a lot of startups really have, or small businesses, have immense costs if they want to develop their own app. And this problem needs to be tackled because otherwise there are a lot of small businesses or also small startups with a smaller budget who are left behind. So I'm welcoming you on stage to explain how that works. Are you Julian or are you Philip?
I'm Jules.
Jules.
Yeah.
Okay, Jules
Okay.
and Philip.
Let's go.
Welcome, Jules.
Hello. Hey everyone, we are Kula. We are the app to make an app. Over 500,000 software developers are missing in Europe. And if you find one, they're really expensive. So what if you're a small business that want to develop an app? Well, we found out that mobile app development is just not accessible nor affordable for them. But Kula is going to change that. Kula is the app to make an app. It's literally a mobile app to make mobile apps. Here is how it works. This is a customer example. This is Dominic, our first customer. He's a personal trainer, has limited financial resources and no technical expertise. But all he needs to do is to tell Kula exactly what kind of app he wants. In his case, show recipes, training plans for his clients. And Kula will build that app, show him a preview and a step-by-step guide on how to get it into the App Store. And the pricing is really affordable, with 99 euros a month. Compared to competitors, we even go one step further and don't require Dominic to know anything about app design. We are a team of 2 founders with over 5 years of experience in modular mobile app development and automation, leading a team of 7. We just built the first app with Kula and released it into the App Store in under 24 hours. And we are looking at a limited launch at the end of this year, raising our pre-seed round in spring, reaching our milestone of 500 apps deployed with Kula at the end of next year. So why are we here? Winning the innovation prize of 200K would enable us to work full-time on getting the first 100 apps out into the app stores. We are Kula. We are the app to make an app. And we are going to change the status quo on how mobile apps are made, and more importantly, on who is making them. Thank you, and sign up on Kula.app if you want to know more.
Thank you, Jules. The marketing already works. So for you, Andreas, it's the very first question to ask.
Excellent. Well, Julian, great presentation. A very ambitious goal. You're not building the machine that builds the machine, but the app that builds the apps. Quite ambitious. How complex do you think those apps need to be for your client base? Is that something like a glorified website, or is there some complexity there that they will require?
So there is some complexity in it that we provide via the features. So we abstract what you can build by telling users what is a feature, what can it do, what kind of value it provides. And it's really important to know for small businesses that they add a feature and they know what it does and how it affects their customers and how they can interact with them. So this is, we are abstracting it really dramatically in that way.
And I was just wondering, so in terms of, everybody's hoping for self-service to work, that the customer actually develops their own website, their own app. How open are they in your perspective? Are they usually relying on agencies even for their collateral, and the agencies then taking care of a web development as well and app development?
Yeah, so we are following the no-code trend, and it's an amazing trend because you can quickly build your own software. And you were able to do it with websites already. You know them all, like Squarespace and so on. But for mobile apps, we saw there's nothing that really is that simple and that goes by step. And we want to let our customers do it themselves and not rely on anybody else. So we cross out the middleman, software developer, designer to do it.
Got it, understood. And maybe lastly, you're looking for 200,000.
Yeah, for the price that would enable us two founders to work on it full time. We are actually looking at more at the pre-seed round. We're looking at around 500K. Okay. But that is open to discussion.
Sure. No. I guess my question is: have you thought about what type of investor you're looking for? So what would be your perfect investor for this round?
So we are actually looking for a venture capital model because we are really confident in making this big. For example, we only need to deploy 85,000 apps to reach 100 million euros in recurring revenue. And to compare it, every month there are about 40,000 apps coming out into the App Store. Mm-hmm. This is a time span of many years. Yeah.
But even, there's a lot of venture capital firms. Is there sort of a specific support that you would expect as part of an investment?
We actually need support from somebody that knows the space, that knows apps, that knows also small business, how to reach them. Mm-hmm. We are targeting one niche at a time. We are starting with personal trainers because we saw there's a good fit with our product and them. And yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. I leave
Thank
you
you
here.
so much.
So the next startup we're going to be informed about is LIDROTEC, and it's all about developing and building laser machines. I'm excited. Welcome on stage.
We're LIDROTEC, and we're fighting the global chip shortage. Microchips are produced on these pizza-sized plates. The problem is that up to 10% of the chips are damaged in the cutting process. We reduce that to 0, saving semiconductor companies 6 billion euros every year. And pictures say more than 1,000 words, so please compare these 4 pictures and tell me if you think that the competitive pictures look better than ours. I don't think so. We can cut with 0 waste, we can cut smaller than the competition, so you can fit more chips on these plates, and that results in a gross margin increase of 2.5 percentage points, which is huge for semiconductor companies. And we can do that because we use liquids to cool and rinse the wafer while we cut it with the laser. That is unique. The past 2 years were very successful. We built a prototype, we started the cooperation with Infineon, and we've made our first revenues. And to make the next 2 years also very successful, we're looking for a financing round of 4 million to scale the production and the selling of our laser machines. The team behind LIDROTEC is a team of 4 fully committed founders. I'm Business Alex, I'm covering the business side. Then we have physicist Alex on the top right, who's taking care of the process in the lab, and our 2 mechanical engineers, Jan and Yannis, who built our machine on the hardware and the software side. And with this team, I'm convinced that we will achieve our vision of becoming the technology platform for various applications. We will start with microchips, and then at some point move on to all the different areas, because our laser system can virtually cut anything. We're LIDROTEC, and we're literally cutting edge.
Thank you so much. It's great that you are convinced. Let's see if also Jan Borgstädt is convinced.
Sure. Yeah, great pitch. Very well done. Quick question. How could you get a patent on your process?
So yes, we have patents filed, the important patents for the process. And actually there are 3 types of patents we can apply for. This is, of course, mechanical parts, the process itself, and the liquids. And we're focusing on everything that we can cover with this.
And how strongly would your customer need to change their process? I mean, so they would probably have to introduce a new machine replacing the existing one. Can this be retrofitted, or is it only possible for future new factories, or I think they're called fab, what are they called? Fab labs or something
Fabs,
like
yeah.
that?
Yeah, you can change old machines and put ours in. The great thing is that these wafers are standardized in size, so we know exactly what we need to work with. There are only 7 sizes from 2 inches to 12 inches in 2-inch steps. Mm-hmm. So you can basically standardize. All 8-inch wafers have the same size as this one. So we know exactly what we need to do with our machine, so their process stays the same. They basically just put the wafers in our machine, we cut it, and then they take it out, and the process stays the same.
Okay, and what are the companies that you are replacing in this with your machines? Who's the incumbent that is currently, I guess, using just normal lasers without liquids? I guess that's the alternative. Who are they?
There are 2 different technologies that are currently used. One is a laser without liquids, so just in gases, but the bigger market share is actually a diamond saw machine. So you have saw blades that are packed with little diamonds to cut even very brittle and hard materials. And the 2 companies that are the main leaders in this part are Disco and Acrotech, both in Japan.
Got it. And with the 4 million that you want to raise, what would change from now to then? What could you actually have achieved? Is there a prototype that you can then show customers, or and how big of a capacity that prototype would be?
So the money will last for about 20 to 21 months, and by the end of that time, we will have sold the first machine to a client.
And that has a capacity of comparable to the capacity of your competitors, or would it be smaller scale?
You mean the production capacity?
The production capacity of your machine, yeah.
Oh, right. So no, the production capacity, so the output of cutting chips will be at least the same as the competitors.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Let's see. I don't know if you are aware of it, but in 2019, almost 200 patients died of cancer. And there is apparently a whole new way to tackle that problem in terms of creating a whole body MRI scan that is proven to be the most efficient and effective way to predict early stage cancer and detect it. So welcome on stage. We are very curious to learn how that works.
Hello everyone, my name is Martin, and together with my colleague Fong, we are the team of AICAN. Now this is me in the year 2062 when I'm 80 years old. I will be a pretty handsome opa, hey? The likelihood, however, that I will have cancer by the time is really high. And if I don't get diagnosed right on time, or if I get cancer metastasis too late, my chances of surviving are shrinking. As I'm sure that many of you in this room or the friends and family are affected by this awful disease. To prevent that, I go to a doctor every year since I'm 60 years old and I get a whole body MRI scan. And why can I do that? Well, luckily we found AICAN in 2022, and AICAN helps radiologists to detect cancer metastasis from whole body MRI scan based on AI that we sold via a B2B software as a service approach, thereby making the treatment more known and available, and in the long run also cheaper for each and every one of us. Now, why whole body MRI scan for our beyond? Because it's the most effective and efficient way to detect cancer metastasis. And it will help all of us to have a chance to become this hot-looking Opa or Oma from a more healthy perspective. Why can we do it? Well, we are more visionary and we are strong in execution. We don't come from a medical background, we come from a sales and leadership perspective, and we are able to sell it to the radiologists and make them use it. And why 2022? Well, luckily we met all of you wonderful people who helped us to collect 2.5 million today. And as a last surprise for you, we have the Hot Oma and Opa card for each and every one of you with the QR code, with our business plan on. And so we are very happy that you can help us, because nothing is more meaningful than saving a life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Julian, what kind of question do you have?
A couple of
right,
questions.
Jessica,
Thanks.
sorry about that.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. Super important topic. Maybe first question. Today, MRI scans already exist, so I'm just wondering, what are the advantages of using an AI technology in addition? What's the ROI for the customer and the radiologist by applying this technology in addition?
Well, there are plenty of research and compare the whole body MRI scan technology and other technology, and the whole body MRI scan in many research is proven to be the most efficient and effective way to detect cancer metastasis. So that is why we decided to tackle this issue. And we can save 30 minutes per diagnosis for the radiologist.
Got it. And is that something that's done today as well, those whole body MRI scans? And if no, what's the reasoning? Is there a specific cost that, for instance, insurance does not cover? Just trying to understand the status quo a bit more.
At this moment, the public insurance is not covering this yet. But in the future, we believe it will cover, and that's the same. We see the same development, like a prostate cancer, mammography. That's the same pattern of development, and we do see that whole body MRI scan is attracting more and more attentions in the healthcare system.
Got it. Thanks.
So instead of several times of check, and you just run through once, and you get your diagnosis.
Okay, understood. And how much human is still in the loop? Like, is there still the radiologist then looking at the results and still having an additional quality assurance layer on top?
We will highlight the metastasis for the radiologist. So we aim to be their assistant. They can choose to accept or override our suggestions. And eventually they would have, at this moment, they would have to write the diagnosis reports in a separate risk system, but that's the second step of our product development.
Okay, understood. And how does data annotation or image annotation work?
Sorry, I couldn't.
How does the annotation work? Do you have will you outsource it? Will it be done by radiologists?
The annotation at the moment is done by the radiologist who works with us. And in the future, we have a company, and this company has a group of trained radiologists, and they offer such a professional service for us.
Okay. And maybe last question, how is the business model going to look like? How are you going to price it?
Well, we're gonna sell it via B2B software as a service sales approach based on the number of machines that are actually in the hospital, because we found it the most feasible way, because otherwise you would demotivate the people to actually use the software. So by putting it per machine and not per use, it should be more sufficient.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. You're done. Leave the stage. Our next startup is called RadonControl. And to be honest, I think it's better if they explain exactly what they do, because as far as I know, they're optimizing the energy efficiency of homes, especially in Romania.
Hello to everyone. My name is Dacian Jurj. I'm from RadonControl spin-off from University of Babes-Bolyai. Well, what is the problem? The problem is the air quality, which we solve. We solve the radon, which is a toxic gas, and a radioactive gas, which we have in-house our home. We spend like 90% of our time inside home, and this is the first problem for lung cancers for the non-smokers. Okay, what is the story? Well, the story, I joined this project. My grandfather died when he was 36 of lung cancer. I'm not overselling. This is a sad story, but it is what it is. So our solution, it's an intelligent indoor air quality monitoring system, which is independent and unique in Europe because it has like 7 parameters, online monitoring platform, and it's compatible with every smart house or smart environment. Business now. It is important for you to know that we are a sustainable business already, which means that we already have more than 1,000 tested buildings. We closed more than 100 clients, and we have more than 20 years of experience. We are unique in Europe by offering radon solutions for remediation to screening. Our vision is to become Romanian leaders, but yeah, we are Romanian leaders, and we did the first radon map in Romania, and we are continuing with this process. And developing our ICA, we are trying to become European leaders, and funding can help us boosting our process. Come with us, join our team, our business, many prizes, some solutions. This is who we are, RadonControl. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Now, Julian. Stage is yours, or actually the questions are up to you.
So thanks my colleagues.
Thanks for the presentation, first of all. So perhaps you could give us a bit more background on the issue of radon. Yeah? Perhaps like in Germany, for me, myself, I didn't know that this is an issue. Is it just specific to Romania, or are we exposed in Germany as well?
Okay, so this is a problem worldwide because radon is a product of uranium, and the main source is the soil. So of course the geology of the soil where the building is built is very important, but also the construction, how tightly it's airtight with the new isolations, that raises the accumulation of radon gas and exposes you to this risk factor.
Okay, so you're saying all the isolation efforts we're doing today are actually increasing the radon concentration.
Exactly.
In our living.
Yes.
Okay, understood. And when it comes to your clients, you said you have 20 already signed on. Who are these? Are these private households?
Yeah.
Are these facility management companies? Let me know more about that.
Yeah, I can explain you. So basically, our closed clients are hospitals, are schools from Romania, from Cluj-Napoca. there is an obligation from the European Commission that all the public buildings should adjust the level of radon. So they are all obliged to do this. So we already managed to close more than 100 public buildings, but also households. So.
Understood. And are you branching out towards other countries already? Is this a European issue, or is there a European regulation coming up here?
Yes. Well, we did had some contracts in Italy. We did have some contracts in Netherlands, but yeah, I cannot disclose the clients, so because they are really big. So.
Okay, good to hear. And when it comes to your funding history and what are you looking for new investors and how much are you looking to raise?
Well, as for now, we are looking for a boosting of 2,000K, so we are just 200K. So we are just, this is a discussion that we can have more in private because we also have lots of partners which are, you know, into this process, and yeah. That's going to be a boost that can help us improve our intelligent monitoring system and promote it further.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps here as a last question, so it seems that you have a working business model already, you're selling your system. Where specifically are you going to put the funding on? So what is it for?
Yeah, the funding is for developing the system and to make it more affordable and to create a larger market for it. So that's our aim.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Now you can take it with you. Next one, it's going to be in the energy sector, and our startup is talking about their software to help energy build okay, he will explain it to you.
Thank you very much. Hello, we are Enernite. We are enablers of renewable energy. Sorry. Every single year, 50 billion euros is spent building renewable energy only in Europe. Yet, with the current building rates, we're not going to get even halfway to the EU's goal of 40% renewables by 2030. And the reason for this, the reason why the energy developers can't reach their growth goals, is because they simply can't find enough good sites to build on. Before you can even think about building a new project, your site has to be screened against a high number of factors. You can't build somewhere regulated, where there's endangered species. And you don't want to build somewhere with high flooding risk. And you want to build close to the grid, where the power producing potential is higher. And this is a very costly problem. Energy developers pay 3 billion euros every single year for consultants to screen these sites manually. It's slow, it's expensive, and analysis is very shallow. But, luckily for all of us, this process can be automated. Meet Enernite. In our platform, all the user has to do is upload the coordinates to the location, and it's automatically screened against a higher number of factors than what the consultants can provide, and analysis becomes instantly shareable with anyone both inside and outside of the organization, enabling rapid and highly informed decision-making. We've already analyzed 400 plus real sites for real customers, and this is what one of them has to say. I worked with a handful of startups in this space, and have still not been able to create any value for us. You guys managed to do it already with a far more practical approach. And to build Enernite, we gathered a talented team of 12 people with previous experience from software development, the energy industry, as well as previous startup experience. We're here today to meet both potential investors as well as new partners. Join the paradigm shift and let's accelerate the transition to a renewable future together. Thank you.
José.
Thank you for your presentation. You are, as far as I understood, you are assembling information, satellite information from several sources, right?
That's great.
Are there public sources, or you have access to special information that nobody has?
Public sources are important for sure. We also generate our own data from satellite imagery to enable even more insight.
So yes, that was my second question. So, but the sources that you use are available to everybody. What you do is you have a layer of knowledge that you put over that. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? So what do you have different that other companies willing to do the same with the same data are not able to do?
Yes, I think we have understood really well how the energy developers work. We work with some of the ones that are best in class, that really know their craft. And because of this, we've been able to create a product that is better than what they've previously been using.
When you said you have already scanned a huge number of sites, it means that you have pilots, or you have done that by yourself, and so you have now information available to potential customers? Is that what you mean?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't quite catch that.
When you said that in our presentation that you have scanned already a huge number of sites, that means that you have done that for yourself to have the information of the field to provide to your potential customers, is that right?
We have only used publicly available sources as well as satellite imagery, and we've done this for one of our primary customers, yes.
Well, another question is to do with your customers, because you have big promoters of source of energy, renewable energy equipment. Do you think that they will use it recurrently? So if I am a big supplier and I have a lot of sites generating energy, once I know the characteristics of the site, will I use it recurrently?
Very good question. So actually every site is usually analyzed several times, because you have to bid for it, you have to screen it, and it might be 5 or 6 energy developers screening the same site. So they actually use it quite frequently. And they also, because they don't win the bid, sometimes they screen a site that they can't actually use. So it's a very, very frequent process. And a lot of sites goes through the funnel before they actually start building. So so when we screen several hundred sites, I mean, that's a pretty regular number for some of the energy developers.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if anybody else has a question.
Yep.
How do you charge for your service?
We charge for with a licensing fee.
And how many potential customers would there be, let's say, in Germany?
I would say in Europe we have about 200-300.
200-300?
Yeah, in Europe.
Okay.
All right.
That was the last question.
All right.
Thank you so much. The next startup is called i3 Therapies, and I was pretty amazed by what they are doing, because they're basically dealing with organs in hospitals and create solutions with it for the industry. Welcome on stage.
So, just let me... Hi. So can I start it? Can I start it?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Rodrigo. We are i3 Therapies. We are a company, a startup revolutionary that creates and recycles human tissues to create new solutions for regeneration and cancer. Our first product is here for oral regeneration. This is not working. Okay. Oral regeneration is specific for one disease, the periodontitis, that does not have cure. Our treatments are ineffective and no valid treatment options are available right now. So, as the Economist and the Intelligence Unit said in this summer, the social and economic impact of this disease is huge. So, why? Because periodontal disease affects 90% of worldwide population, worldwide loss of productive estimate in 54 billion per year, and also responsible for 10% of tooth loss in the world. Our economic advantage is because we are a green solution based on a circular-based economy where we can collect from tissue from the hospitals, like organs or in this case amniotic and chorionic membranes, and create new solutions like biomaterials and in the future new organs and disease model for cancer and drug discovery. So this is a video quite amazing of our deep technology process. Yeah. Yes, this is our deep tech technology that we are decellularize an organ, And our market, it's even better, 200 billions in biomaterials, in regenerative medicine 49 billions, and periodontal regeneration 1.6. Our competitive advantage is huge because I will prove you because we already have a recommendation letter from Medical Association in Portugal, 5 intention letters from hospitals, and more than 1,000 sign-ups over the world. So we ask 800K from the investment from you, and our team is based on our expertise and our background. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Andreas, do you have questions?
Yeah, you know, my colleague to my right keeps telling me that there's a lot of innovation coming out of Portugal, and I can see it firsthand now, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're a medical doctor, right?
Yes,
you're actually a dentist. What made you become an entrepreneur?
In the base, I'm a medical doctor in dental medicine, now in the future I want to specialize in maxillofacial and plastic surgery.
Got it. You know, we see a lot of companies in sort of medical and digital health, and typically they don't focus on oral health, so I applaud you for that. I think it's a huge issue worldwide. But I'm still a bit confused. Are you a biomaterials business, or are you actually fighting periodontitis? What is it?
So we are creating biomaterials based on this solarization of the organs. Okay, so in this first patent material that you see there, it's for oral regeneration and periodontal regeneration. We are the first solution of the market that can, for the first time, save. It's why? Because we have so many sign-ups and intention letters from the hospitals and the healthcare industry, especially in the dental medicine. And in the future, we can use these desolarized organs, like we take the cells and stay with the matrix, and pursue, for instance, pharmaceutical companies if they want to test disease model like cancer and drug development, because it's like a clean paper where you can write again into organs, and it is tissue waste, so it's like a biocircular economy. It's a profitable one because you will save a lot of money from the hospitals, and we are a sustainable company that creates like new parts of the human.
Got it.
Yeah.
So this recycling of organs and tissues, like this decellularization process, is that something that is unique and new to you, or is that been done already and you just
it's done already, but the process needs to be very unique for each organ, because the matrix has some growth factors and proteins, and these proteins needs to be carefully treated in the process, and a lot of the solarization process kill all of them.
Okay.
This is the unique of the deep tech technology that we create. And this case, from amniotic and filter in amniotic membranes, imagine how many births per day, you know? Yep. So you have a lot of material to use it.
Got it. I mean, I'm wondering also why periodontitis, it seems to be quite easily preventable also, right? I mean, it's sort of, if you do basic oral health, it's not becoming an issue.
Yeah, yes, it's a great issue, oral health, and it's preventable, the periodontitis. Okay. And now, if you read the new articles from Nature, for instance, Alzheimer, the bacterial form periodontitis go to brain and Alzheimer and make the disease progress. So it's a two-tier product here that, like oral health, say that the oral health is the key factor for all the health in the body, because it's communication with the external environment.
So you gave us this?
Yeah, this is amniotic and chorionic membrane in a glass.
Okay.
It's an organ in a glass, yes.
Okay. It's fast to use.
Yeah, you can use it if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. If we need to go to the hospital, it sometimes doesn't really feel like a great pleasure, or actually most of the time. But our next startup Opus Tec, they want to solve that problem and make it more convenient for us.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a very strong chance that by the end of this presentation, you'll have been so blown away by our performance that your heart will be racing, fit to burst. Concerned for your own safety, you'll be checked into the local Nerit'e hospital, where you'll be wired up to an ECG device to monitor your heart's condition.
Now that you're lying in your hospital bed, you'll probably notice the same things that we did. You can't so much as twitch for fear of pulling off an electrode, and you can forget about going to the bathroom by yourself. Bedridden patients can be plagued with comorbidities, such as poor blood flow, muscle loss, and bed sores.
So you can just imagine your relief when we walk through that hospital door with a truly wireless ECG system designed to free you from your wiry shackles.
Coming from our design background supported by TU Dublin and the Bolton Trust Foundation, we at Opus Tec are uniquely equipped to develop user-centered design solution. Our pilot product, Minerva, is a wireless, comfortable and intuitive ECG system that gives patients back their independence and enables them to take control over their own recovery. Minerva will be targeted towards high-quality medical institutions which tend to prioritize patient overall comfort and well-being. These institutions will buy our product on the basis that they'll save money through less wasted manpower, time and resources. In Ireland, the delayed discharge of patients cost the taxpayer €540,000 daily, and comorbidities are a leading cause of this delay. After building a reputable brand through sticky customer relationships in Ireland, Opus Tec will launch the Minerva to the European market.
Our vision is simple. We want to design better hospital experiences that prioritize patient comfort at a time when they need it most. Our continued aging population is causing further hospital congestion, so in time Minerva will offer at-home rehabilitation and monitoring. Our long-term goal for Minerva is for it to become an artificially intelligent cardiology diagnosis aid. Many ventures are relevant in the here and now, but having the combined expertise of our 4 passionate founders and our team of experts at home allow us to stay at the forefront of innovation, delivering value to stakeholders for years to come.
So, thanks to your increased mobility, freedom, and the more efficient hospital care you've received, you're back on top form in time to attend the Stage 2 after party this evening. Thank you very much.
Jan, are you blown away or do you have questions?
Well, very energetic presentation. I did not just some feedback, I did not understand every one of you perfectly well. You were also a bit rushing. And I'm also not sure whether it makes sense for everybody. I'm sure everybody can talk, so maybe sometimes it's easier to just have one speaker. But my question, so do you think, you're from Ireland originally, you think Ireland is a good market to start this from? Would it not be better to be in a less regulated market?
The issue is, while it does have the funding and the budget that you would expect from a European country, it is severely understaffed, not enough hospital beds, there is a huge overcrowding. So this is what sparked us to start looking at this, was because it's such a close-to-home issue. We think then that the time and money savings that hospitals will experience will then make it more applicable to countries which may not have these issues anyway.
So I see the issue, yeah, but I'm asking myself, are you the right team to tackle it? So I saw from your backgrounds, all of you are product designers, yeah, and not necessarily coming from a medical space. Maybe you can explain why you decided to go into this sector.
Yeah, well, the great thing about having the product design background is that we focus on finding a solution to a specific problem, not in necessarily a given field. So through our research, our field of technical skills, which we picked up at TU Dublin, and our supporters and mentors there as well, we have access to a wide range of experts who know a lot more than we do. We do have a lot of technical skills, but it's more important to know what you don't know. And thankfully, we do have access to nurses, doctors, mountain rescue professionals, and paramedics who can fill in the gaps that we don't. The last thing that we need to kind of look into is the electrical engineering side of things. So we do have lecturers who are helping us with that at the moment, but we would like to take on a professional in the future to fill in the gaps that we don't fully understand.
And okay, and I saw your demo. I understand that there are various diagnostic apparatus that are connected to the body. Are you starting with one in particular first, or it seemed like you're tackling the whole thing?
No, specifically ECGs is what we're tackling. So the wirelessness obviously is the main thing. We absolutely wouldn't be opposed to moving into other medical devices in the future, especially with, as we said, the biggest end goal for us is to start moving into AI and to look at machine learning to potentially diagnose patients based on patterns from previous patients. We think that while this is obviously we're pitching a product now, that service line is what's going to end up making it most valuable to investors in the future, and that same AI and approach can be applied to medical devices in a whole range of industries, not just ECGs.
So it's ECGs, yeah?
ECGs currently, anywhere in the future.
And isn't it, I mean, highly demanding to create such a device with all the competitors out there that have been building it for 50 years?
Yeah, so yes and no. The advantage is that we're not creating a technology that hasn't been tested. So the wirelessness, all of the sensor readings, that's all well established and well used. We're not radicalizing that. We're just repackaging it in a much easier way, which is going to save hospitals and nurses time. All of this tech has been tested in other industries, so we've taken a lot of the guesswork out of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you imagine that we might have all access to our genetic data in the future? So maybe there is a realistic opportunity that we do so. And your idea, basically from BINARTIS GENOMICS, is here to explain why.
Good morning. I am Oscar. I'm the founder of BINARTIS, and I would like to start this presentation sharing with you my personal motivation to start this company. When I was 19 years old, my father died of cancer. His cancer was taken at a later stage, and nothing could be done to save his life. But even today, when cancer is detected late, as we already saw in a previous presentation, it's a big problem, and the probabilities of survival are very low. So the solution we propose is a genetic test that can be taken from a saliva sample, and we can detect the genetic predisposition of a person to suffer a specific disease, such as cancer or a cardiovascular disease. And based on that, we can act to prevent the disease or at least to detect it in an early stage. In the competitive landscape, we take the best from the direct-to-consumer, the simplicity, and from the medical sector, we take the accuracy. And we can do that thanks to our proprietary technology that is already being patented. It's based on artificial intelligence and automation, allowing us to increase the sensitivity of the detection and scalability. The overall market is roughly 12 billion euro, and we already have generated the first sales. We have 7,000 euro in revenue, and we plan to be raising €500,000 by mid-next year, mainly to grow in Europe. Our team is, we have more than 20 years of combined experience in clinical genomics, and we have a diverse team that has already worked together in the past. So in our new vision, everybody will have their DNA analyzed, and we want to be a major player in this sector. So join us and help us save lives. Thank you.
Jessica, do you have questions?
Yeah, thanks a lot for the presentation. Maybe first question on where you are today. Like, what kind of certifications do you still need to actually bring the product to the market?
Okay, so it depends on the country, but in Spain, you don't need a certification to start doing this as long as you don't do it for diagnosis. So we can just provide statistical information, but can never use for diagnosis. But since it's done for prevention, it can be done like this. But I think Germany and France, for instance, are much more restrictive. Mm-hmm. Our plan is to validate ourselves as a clinical laboratory.
Understood. And how do you follow up? Let's say I take the test and I have a predisposition for like 10 different diseases. What am I supposed to do, and how do you help me with that? Okay, so serious predisposition for 10 is not very probable, so probably you will have 1 or 2. And the follow-up will be that we will provide you like the recommendations to act, and maybe if it's a serious mutation, we will recommend to see a doctor, because since we are not doctors, we cannot provide you that kind of, let's say, serious recommendation. But in case if the predisposition is not as strong, maybe you can change a habit, and like eating better, exercise, well, stop smoking is obvious, and this kind of recommendation. Okay, so you're not, you don't get any liability issues with, for instance, saying the patient, well, he should just eat healthier and then I get cancer and then I sue you because, well, the app told me if I eat healthy, I'm not going to get it.
No, for that kind of recommendations, we cannot get liability. We just, as Arcana said before, we just provide a recommendation, but the responsibility is always on the doctor.
And who owns the data? Is that purely the patient or also yourself?
I mean, we have the right to get the data in our database to analyze it, and especially for in the future, we want to provide further services. Our business model is based on providing services during the whole life of the individual. And the patient, I mean, the individual can get the data on a USB stick also if he wants.
And do you see any ethical issues, for instance, with using the data later on that it might impact a person getting insurance or things like that? Like, what are the walls that you're putting in place to prevent that?
I mean, for us, our ethical issues is to prevent that from happening. The law in Europe is very strict, and I think it's the way it should be. So we are competent to provide the security for this data. And we are even implementing the European ID card to access the data so that nobody else can access that data.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
You can take it with you. Thank you so much. Again, we're in the healthcare sector, and DigniSens is actually supporting the healthcare sector with new technology and will primarily equip nurses, for instance, at our homes. Welcome.
So hello everyone. I'm a man of facts and not assumptions. Today I'm going to talk about the care industry. So if I think of care industry, this picture, everyday care, smiling nurse, smiling elderly person. Yeah, that's everyday care if you like stock photos. I'm sure the real deal, the hard truth. It's like this. This is Martina and Roswitha, two caregivers that are taking care of an elderly person suffering from incontinence and the risk of fall. They have to do it together because they have to deal with a lack of personal, mental and physical stress and an overwork of load. And we have assistance for this. It's this what I'm handling in my hand. It's Aska One. At this picture, Martina is attaching Aska One on an adult care diaper. This is a device that detects automatically if a care diaper needs to be changed during the nighttime or if the person in need of care gets out of the bed. This provides help providing for them. This means the overload and the nursing staff and lack of time, we can handle this because we make physical and mental relief for the caregivers. We provide digital assistant that generates a proven value proven by our clinical evaluation. This means, summarized, if you use in an elderly nursing home our digital assistants, you can save about 150 euros per month by a rental mode. So if you rent our product for 30 euros each month, this really generates value. Today, it's not me who are asking for assistance or help. It's Martina, it's Roswitha, the whole care industry. We can provide help at the moment for about 1,800 nursing homes in Austria and more than 15,000 nursing homes in Germany. At the moment, the picture you saw before, it was not a stock photo. I took this picture actually in a nursing home during our pilot project. So I say thank you, and I'm looking forward for your questions. I'm sure there are a lot of them.
Julian, you have questions.
Well, first of all, I think it's very honorable to approach such a sensitive topic, and it's already part of your name that you want to give people back their dignity. At the same time, with such a sensitive topic, how are you thinking around your go-to-market? Yeah? Is it a classical B2B product, or are you actually targeting the B2C groups, the families of perhaps patients being in care?
Very good question. I'm not thinking about going to market. In this moment, we're going to the market because, as I said, at the moment, they're running pilot projects. without revenues, because in the first instance, our first market is a B2B business model in elderly nursing homes in Austria, in Switzerland, and in Germany. And these pilot projects, where the caregivers like Martina and Roswitha actually use it, they prove to us that this business model works out. We have LOEs with them, and afterwards, in the end of the year, they want to rent our product. So this is basically written in stone. I don't know if it's known in English, but yeah, we are going to the market at the moment, and we'll have our first recurring revenues, our monthly recurring revenues, at the beginning of 2021.
Okay, great to hear. And when it comes to the medical device regulation, is
Yes.
that side already covered? Is it actually appropriate to is it relevant to your business model?
Actually it's a kind of a business USP, call it this way. We have our certificates. So in the end of May 2021, we got our certificate under the MDD, the old regulation. And this is the clinically proven valuable medical device. So caregivers in the whole care industry and clinics as well, where I can use our product, they said, okay, we can only accept this product if it's a medical device with a proven medical value. And to your further question, yes, you can as well use our product in the B2C market with a sales and subscription model. For example, baby diapers or people in need of care that are taken care in their own four walls. So. Every person that suffers from incontinence and the risk of fall is a potential patient that can, make use of it.
Your use case itself feels a bit specific. Isn't there actually a need to a larger or more broader monitoring of vital signs to actually have a holistic platform to monitor patients?
I just showed this. This sensor device not just informs you if a diaper needs to be changed. All the data afterwards get collected and documented. So the caregivers, private or official caregivers in nursing homes, they can evaluate this data afterwards. I'm not talking about big data, but relevant data for the clinics. And we know there are several other use cases we can cover with our product, but just you want a minimum viable product that generates value, they use in the first instance, and afterwards, during further development, we can activate further sensors that cover another use case. So this is like an all-in-one product that covers a very big range of use cases in the clinical and elderly nursing care system.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I said thank you. Thank you very much.
Again, we are in the healthcare system. And we all know that obesity and metabolic disorders are unfortunately a common problem in our society. And YourBiome Therapeutics want to solve that problem. I welcome you on stage.
Thank you so much. Hello all. So my name is Daniel. I'm co-founder and CEO at YourBiome. And our company is focused on the more than 2 billion overweight people around the world, and the impact from obesity in several other diseases, and for us specifically, type 2 diabetes. And we know that weight loss makes a difference. In a recent study, 86% of the participants were able to lose more than 15 kilos. They were able to get cured from their diseases. And we also know that weight loss can be achieved, but it takes a huge amount of time in a very strong process, and sometimes with the use of very invasive procedures. And this impact on the engagement that these people need to make the lifestyle changes they need. And so the question is, what if we have a therapy, a drug that could help us to reduce the weight that our patients need in a sustainable way over time? And we think we can do it through broad-creating therapies based on fecal microbiome in a $1.5 billion market. So the dysbiosis, the trillion of bacteria, microbiome is the trillion of bacteria that we have inside our gut. When they are in an unbalanced stage, what we call a dysbiosis, they are pretty much associated with several different diseases, and specifically for us, obesity and also metabolic disorders. And so we want to leverage on the last 10 years of research and development, clinical practice, academia, and entrepreneurship experience from our founders in these three areas of nutrition, microbiome, and obesity and diabetes, and on work that we've been performing, analyzing microbiota sequencing data and applying machine learning classifiers to define concretely a health person and the difference with an obese one, to develop a targeted biotherapeutic candidate to treat obesity, and in the end to licensing out the technology to the pharmacy industry, and in the end to reach patients and doctors. So we are looking for 700K to complement 1 million euros we have already granted to reach a minimum viable product and people with knowledge networking in the pharmacy industry to help us to grow the business. Thank you so much.
Thank you. José.
And I have here also Claudia and Diogo, my co-founders at YourBiome.
Thank you for your presentation. So you have conducted some research, let's say, to find which are the correct biome elements that should be used. I know that you are also doing some trials, so where you stand in terms of those trials that in order to prove that this works, effectively works?
So we based the initial thoughts about this on several clinical trials that the team, the funding team has been performing. The last one, we look at obese people with type 2 diabetes, and we applied a Mediterranean diet on these people and see what would happen in terms of HbA1c levels for them, which is the parameter that we measure to see the levels of diabetes. But, and that happened along the 12 weeks. But more interesting than that is that the changes on the microbiome that happen much before what happens in HbA1c. So what now we need to do is the contrary. So we now want to make a change on the microbiota of someone and then to check what's going on in terms of their weight reduction and then in the end with their HbA1c level and to see if they can improve from that.
And that's the study that you will be doing next.
Exactly.
I have a question about doctors because I believe doctors today have a strategy to approach these problems. So as you said, they might try to convince you to do some diet or have some invasive processes. Do you think that your approach will completely eliminate traditional approaches or will complement them and it will be a very important component, or just as another element that doctors will consider?
What do you mean data? Sorry.
So, I mean, if doctors will... Doctors will say to do the life you want, just take this medicine and everything will be okay, or if they will use it side by side with other strategies.
So one of our founders, Conceição Calhau, she's a practicing doctor, and so she receives a lot of patients with a lot of problems on not only in diabetes, but also with obesity. And what she says is that we don't have anything to give to these persons. What we have right now is to do the gastric surgery or to do the other anti-obesity drugs with a lot of the side effects. And what she needs is something that, and what also the research shows is that we can apply nutrition and diet and physical activity, but what happens is a question of engagement. After 1 year, we are okay, we can reduce a lot the weight and reduce the problem with diabetes, but after on second year, people just give up on doing diet, and so they become again with the problem. And this is a very invasive process that we have. So what we have is something that could be sustainable, that people could take, that goes directly where the problem is, to act from the problem, or from the solution, hopefully from our side, but that can be sustainable, so you don't have to take drugs every day or doing gastric surgery. So it's something that you can take probably during the next 2 to 3 to 5 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't know if you ever had problems in your hip joint, for example, or in your wrist. If so, maybe there is the next solution coming up to prevent those problems within your body. And the startup Scaled is probably helping you with this.
Hi, I'm Natalie, the founder of Scaled, the next generation of injury prevention. Have you ever suffered an injury, fractured your wrist, twisted an ankle, and still feel the pain? During my research at Imperial College, I was looking into ways to protect the human body more efficiently. I looked into nature. Nature protects animals with skin for those fast enough to flee, shells for the slow ones to hide in, and scales which provide the best trade-off between mobility and protection. Scaled was born, a material innovation providing full mobility and protection at the same time. Scaled is flexible in one direction and interlocking in another to prevent any motion exceeding a healthy range. It functions just as a safety belt. It only protects in the moment of an accident. Our team of multidisciplinary designers, engineers, and researchers is passionate about solving real-world problems through new technologies and a human-centered design approach. Scaled's innovation is based on the combination of our algorithm and 3D printing to enable mass-customized scaled materials to protect any body area, any body's shape for any type of activity. Our B2B licensing model is focused on selling our patent-pending technology to collaborators in the protective clothing industry. Protection, prevention, prediction. We revolutionize sports protection, medical rehabilitation, industrial work safety, and the defense industry by delivering a more flexible, lightweight, and effective solution than competitors. It has been less than a year, £150,000 in grants, publications in world-renowned magazines, and international traction for collaboration. Today, we're testing our scaled wrist guards with athletes, further expanding into the work safety industry. And our vision is to improve life quality for all by protecting and preventing injuries for healthy aging. We're currently raising £750,000. So join our mission of injury prevention today for a more active tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. I liked that presentation, to be honest.
Great, awesome.
How about you, Andreas?
No, first of all, thank you very much for giving us a presentation without the mentioning of the word AI and blockchain. That was very refreshing. I think you also are a goldsmith by trade. Did that skill set help you at all in sort of coming up with the idea?
Yeah, so my very early background is in fine jewelry design and manufacturing. Mm-hmm. And I was always intrigued by new technologies, so I got into 3D printing back in jewelry. And that's definitely where the skills come from.
Got it, makes sense. So I keep wondering, is the innovation actually within the material of the material you use, or is it the design of the scale-like form factor?
So it's a combination of the algorithm. The algorithm is calculating each individual scale, depending on what kind, what's the degree on motion limitation you need, if we talk about rehabilitation or prevention. It's the combination of using that algorithm with the right manufacturing method. So our patent is covering the manufacturing method, the algorithm, the materials we use, and the application areas.
Got it. And again, it doesn't have a sort of shock-absorbing factor. It's mostly to avoid hyperextension.
It has a shock-absorbing factor as well.
Okay.
Because that's how nature designs scales. Every scale is overlapping with 3 neighbors. So as soon as you hit one, it hits 3 and distributes the force.
Got it, okay. Are you aiming for this to replace existing protective gear, or is this a completely new market in your point of view?
So we right now start in the sports protective market, especially because regulatory approval in the medical sector takes time and money. Mm-hmm. So we had early traction of professional athletes aiming to protect themselves in training and competition, and without leveraging, without missing out on performance, basically. We definitely see ourselves in all the markets of industrial work safety, defense, and the medical rehabilitation, whereas we are aiming to sell the data to print the scales off on-site.
Got it. I guess from your presentation, it appears that the customization aspect is really, really important. That obviously limits scale. Can you just talk a little bit more about why customization is so important? And how the process works, I guess, of adjusting the protective gear?
So right now, we work with physiotherapists for their sports clients, and we use image processing. So you take a picture of your wrist on how much limitation you need. So this one is a full one for high diving. So there's actually any motion which is kind of giving you an injury is only limited. So we use image processing, and then the scales are populated across the surface. But if you talk about rehabilitation and you need a week of 10 degrees of motion, then we populate that.
Excellent. Maybe lastly, I was really impressed by your showcase also. I think especially during COVID, it's important to get the message out, and the showcase was well produced. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. WiSort is a startup that covers the big problem of waste, especially for smaller home, like eco-conscious apartments. Welcome on stage.
Before the end of this talk, 2 tons of waste will leak into the nature, poisoning our world. Everyone tells us about the importance of reducing and recycling waste, but no one is giving us any engagement for improving it. Most of the European citizens have to manually sort their waste, but it's boring, tedious, and never customer-centric. However, this activity is fundamental, because bad sorting made impossible to recycle 52% of the European waste in 2017. But what if? What if I tell you that in the near future you will be able to go in the waste area of your building and find a bin, not only able to sort waste for you and better than you, but also give you feedbacks about your disposal activity? We have a name for this system: WiSort. We decided to start from a very specific niche of customers: premium apartment blocks with a quality and environmental certification. Switzerland is the perfect starting point for WiSort, thanks to its waste per capita much higher than the European average. We developed a B2B2C business model. Let's consider one apartment block. We sell the bin directly to the real estate owning the entire building, and we are going to install it for 10K. Then, from the residents, we collect a monthly fee hidden in their rents. The real estate will increase the overall attractiveness of their building. The residents will save time and effort because they can throw away all their waste at once without any previous separation. And for the first time, they can track the quantity and the quality of the waste disposed, set challenges, and get rewards through our companion app. We developed a first fully working prototype that now is installed in the Castle of Lenzburg, getting feedbacks from actual users. Our vision is ambitious, but it's driven by 5 passionate engineers with complementary skill set, covering both technical and the business aspects of the venture. Thank you very much.
Jan.
Hi.
What kind of questions do you have?
Yeah, so I totally get the problem, and I think everybody experiences every day. My question is, how is this being installed in the apartments? Is there like a shaft where everything falls down, or could you explain? I didn't understand that, how it works.
Yeah, we install the bin in the waste area of the building, of the real estate. Mm-hmm. We validated in Switzerland. There are many buildings with the waste area that is properly dimensioned. The bin works as a buffer in which you empty your bag, and there is a conical shape that separates each item. Every single item goes in a conveyor belt in a tunnel full of RGB cameras that takes photograph, and with a neural network algorithm recognize each item. Then with a splitter we put in the municipal container that are collected by the municipality.
And I was, okay, understood. I was thinking it's probably difficult then to retrofit, yeah? You can only plan it to be included in new buildings, is that correct?
For now, the niche market that we target are new buildings in Switzerland. Still, our engineers are developing a modular kind of machine that can adapt to also old kind of buildings.
Okay. And I was thinking when I listened to you, why at all this has been done on the household level? Yeah? Why are you not developing robotics to single out the stuff at the collection site? Yeah? Wouldn't that be more efficient?
Well, there are some pros with our solutions. First, we can give feedbacks to the residents. Now there are no punctual data of how much waste and what type every resident throw away. Mm-hmm. If I ask you what kind of garbage to throw away, you don't know. So we want to collect this data that can be very useful. For an example, optimization of the transportation. Sorry? Okay. Optimization of the transportation of the collection. The two main sources of cost that makes recycling not competitive with burning or incineration is sorting and transportation. With our solution, we can solve both problems also. Then there is now the technology allows to build a machine that is cheap enough to be decentralized. The decentralization principle is one of the base pillars of our solution that really allows us not only to collect data, but also to reduce the amount of waste that is managed by a single machine. Centralized facilities are a bottleneck. We solved the bottleneck.
Okay. And what is it that you're looking money for, and what would you be able to show? You have a showcase already. What would be the next step for you?
Yeah, we want to collect 300K in order to first define a pilot project with the real estate and test with residents and a real estate company. Then develop a second prototype with which that will have also the buffer and the conical shape that now we didn't develop yet. Okay. The prototype that I showed you is just testing the robustness of the algorithm.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. HYPSTAR is the next startup we want to introduce here, and they are basically taking satellite data and making it more accurate, because if you don't do so, it's more or less useless. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kim Dung and I'm from HYPSTAR. We developed an autonomous hyperspectral radiometer system for satellite validation. Now, let's take an example. This is an image of the algae plumes in the Baltic Sea. These algae at some concentration are toxic for humans and animals. And to derive the accurate concentration from raw satellite data, sophisticated algorithms are needed, and this process cannot be completed without comparison with in situ measurements that we call the validation of satellite data. Now the problem is Copernicus Sentinel-2 and 3 satellites have been on orbit for years, but ESA still hasn't had a validation infrastructure for these satellites. Currently, remote sensing scientists are using different radiometers to collect the in situ measurement, but none of them meets ESA's requirements. Our team successfully built an autonomous radiometer system that has all the desired features at an affordable price. Now, a radiometer has more application than just validating satellites, and at the moment we targeted the Earth observation and water quality monitoring markets. Our business model is that we sell the instrument and service them annually with a fee. We already secured 24 orders from 7+ customers before company registration. We will register the company in 2023, and in the following 2 years, we plan to serve 39 customers more that will bring in a total revenues of 1.2 million euros for those 2 years. Our team has been working together for years in Torto Observatory, and with this team we already have all the people we need to fulfill that plan. We are well funded in this stage, but for the next stage, for scaling up, we definitely want to bring investors on board. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jessica, do you have questions?
Yeah, thanks a lot for the presentation, perfectly on time. Couple of questions, maybe to start with the use cases. I think you mentioned 2 areas or industries that you want to tackle first. Can you talk a little bit more about why you've chosen those 2 and how the market dynamics work for those?
Sorry, you mean why do we choose 2 markets that we target first?
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Because first of all, this radiometer system is initially built for satellite validation. So our first market is obviously the scientific institute that has remote sensing department that work with satellite data. And then that is a satellite validation market. And the next market is that, nowadays around the world, the legislation to monitor the quality of the water for water bodies, for example, drinking water in inland lakes and ocean, coastal waters is only increasing. So there's more and more legislation on monitoring the ecosystem of the water bodies. And then to use in that market, they use the radiometer to measure. That's why we focus on that market.
Got it, understood. And then for the water use case, for instance, right? What is the key ROI for the customer that you measure, and how do you sell the product then?
What do you mean by?
Like, what's the key value add for the customer, and how do you quantify that?
The key value is that currently there's no products like this in the market. The ESA and EUMETSAT also confirmed that there's no products like this, and there's definitely a need for this radiometer, but there's none. Within the last 20 years, there are a lot of efforts, R&D, scientific methods, efforts to build this instrument, but none was successful, and our team was the first one.
Perfect. That sounds great. And how far are you in the product development?
We already have the finished products, and we have slightly more than a year to the end of the Horizontal 2020 project ends. So after that project, we will launch the private company.
Perfect, that's great. Maybe last question, how do you see go-to-market? Like, how do you find your customers, and what's your ideal customer profile?
Actually, right now, a customer found us. So at this R&D stage, we already have 10 remote sensing institute worldwide contacting us to express their interest in having this instrument for their scientific research.
That's great, what every entrepreneur wants.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We're actually almost at the end. There is one startup missing, and it's actually a very interesting case. I just talked to the founder, and I don't know if you're aware of the fact that the gaming industry, or basically people who are in the gaming industry, are more architects than normal architects, and therefore there need to be tools. And this gentleman has it to explain. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ben James, founder of MIxar. Architecture design is a manual, inefficient, and inflexible process. This is a problem when designing one house, but it's a huge problem when designing an entire city, level, or world, which is exactly what happens in video game design. Our startup is creating a tool to generate 3D architecture models, and these models are for use in the gaming industry. Because the problem of the gaming industry is that it is so time-consuming to build such models, and the prototypes we've already developed are 50 times faster than the nearest competitor. The issue is that it's not just this main character that consumers and game developers care about. It's all this other stuff in the background that takes forever. And in most games, that's architecture. Take, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5, where they designed an entire city. It took 5 years and cost $265 million, which is why the market is already larger than all of the other entertainment industries combined, at $159.3 billion today, and expected to double to $300 billion by 2025. And the fundamental issue here is that content demand is forecast to exponentially increase beyond content creation capacity because digital asset creation is such an entirely manual process. This is where we offer a solution. Our mission is to provide a new breed of digital architecture tools that use trustworthy AI automation into the design process. The prototypes we've already developed use an AI engine which uses style references and design constraints, and these have been tested by game developers who have used them to generate sample virtual worlds, including these. We're the only tool which is both highly efficient and highly creative, and we're capable of that because of an underlying AI technology innovation that's not present in any competitors. Aside from my background in finance, I'm also trained as an architect. Our co-founder and CTO is an AI expert, and we're supported by advisors who have expertise in successfully bringing deep tech solutions to market. Thank you.
Thank you. Julian, you have the last question, last word.
Well, I think timing-wise, it couldn't be more spot on what we're offering here, like with Facebook's rebranding to MIxar. I'm still a bit wary of this whole concept because it always reminds me of the Matrix trilogy, but that's a different topic here. I think when it comes to generating these digital assets, no questions around the need here, but where do you want to sell it to? Is it the individual game studios? Is it the already existing service providers where they're outsourcing that to? What's your idea here?
So we are looking mostly at the game developers themselves. We've done quite a bit of user testing, and what we've found is that especially the mid-market game developers see a huge and immediate need for the tool that we are providing. And so there's actually been pull from these mid-market game developers to be prototype customers. We think where we'd like to go are to the larger game studios, the AAA studios, but we think this is a good stepping stone to quantify a lot of our cost and time savings, as well as develop a portfolio to reach these customers.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to customer validation, how many game studios have you already trialed with? Because I can imagine, like, from the variety of games, that the aesthetics, the styles of the games differ quite a lot when it also then comes to generating more content.
Yeah, this is in a way really our competitive advantage. Because we use an AI approach, we are essentially able to be very diverse in the types of assets, the type of architecture assets we create. So we've tested with, I think, around 70 different users in total, about 50 of which were game developers. We're still in the prototyping stage, so we are getting ready to launch our first pilot projects. But I think what's been interesting for us is being involved in a lot of different games, games that focus on realism versus games that focus on style.
Mm-hmm. Understood. And would you say that, like, your generative models at your core, are these building a moat, or could I plus an engineer also build it ourselves?
Sorry, you said someone that's not trained in game design?
Is it like a real competitive moat, the generative models you're building at the core of your business?
The underlying AI?
Yes.
Yes, so this is really very much something that has been through our R&D, funded through various grants, and I think it would be very difficult to replicate what we have done.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's basically it. We've listened to 15 startups, and now it's up to you, to the jury, to vote. Thank you, first of all, for giving your insights and sharing questions and also challenging all these startups. Thank you so much for your time. And also, you have the opportunity to vote, I think, online until 2 p.m. So make sure to use that opportunity and support your favorite startup. And then, last but not least, I want to ask the next jury to come here and gather in front of the stage so that we all know that you're complete and you're ready for the next session. Thank you so much for listening. And from my side, have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day and get inspired by all these amazing founder teams and ideas. Thank you so much.